Good morning. It is 9:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, and I am so happy you're here, no matter how you're listening, whether you're on the TuneIn app, the iHeartRadio app, if you're watching us on Super Talk TV, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We appreciate you. A lot to get to today, and I think we got to start with what was maybe one of the best moments of 2025. Already in the book says top five, easily top five, and that was what happened yesterday when Kamala Harris certified her own election loss. It was one of the biggest smiles I've had in a long time, watching her begrudgingly recite that she lost the election. Oh, man, it was a beautiful thing to witness.
70. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris
as she smiles to keep from crying.
Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
The pity applause from the Democrats, but that was all she wrote. Donald J. Trump, the presidency has been certified. The election certified. Let's go. We got 13 days, fellas. 13 days, ladies. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. But if you're watching the conversation online, even better than watching Kamala Harris certify the election is watching the liberals melt down. The Trump derangement syndrome. You see, the Blue Anon folks, they were doing what a lot of the QAnon folks were doing back 4 years ago, saying it's not going to be certified, this, that, and the other. One woman took to Twitter to say Congress only certified the election because of optics.
So Congress just certified the election for Donald Trump. Democrats did not object for fear of optics.
For fear of optics. Has nothing to do with the landslide victory. Has nothing to do with the fact that Trump took 7 out of 7 of the swing states. Has nothing to do with the fact that he won the popular vote, that the American public gave him a mandate. No. Democrats, they only certified it because of the optics.
I know people were still afraid of glasses nowadays.
Oh, my gosh.
Optics are more important to them than democracy.
Huh?
So now we know, people, we're on our own.
There you are. You sure are.
It's up to us. No politician is going to save us.
That's true.
No act of God is going to save us.
I would disagree. I think God definitely interfered on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. Also, do you think God is going to support the party of gender mutilation for children? Is God going to support that? I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I can tell you what God's thinking. I think the child mutilation and the sex change operations is a bit frowned upon up in heaven.
We are going to save ourselves. Now you decide how you want to fight, what it looks like for you.
Interesting.
But the one thing you're not going to do is obey. You will not comply to the fascist agenda.
I love how it's always a fascist agenda. It's not America first. This is a fascist agenda. Under Biden and Harris, it was America last. Under Donald Trump, it's going to be America first. Get ready for it. The border's going to be secure. The illegals are going to be deported. And we're going to have prosperity in this country again. And lady, I know you're dealing with a bit of TDS, but listen, we'll drag you kicking and screaming into prosperity as well. You see, Donald Trump's policies are going to benefit all Americans, even those with very, very severe cases of TDS. Whether she likes it or not. That fascist is going to lower your energy bills. That fascist is going to bring back cheap gas. That fascist is going to restore world peace. Okay. Yeah. Hey, like I said, we'll drag you there kicking and screaming. But it was a historic day yesterday, from the snowball fights in D.C. to the certification of the election. It was awesome. Something very, very cool to watch. And to be in this moment of history and to be able to watch the greatest political comeback in history, it's been really cool, man. It's something very, very cool to be a part of. And me personally, the hard work that we've put in over the last year here at WTN, dispelling narratives, and on the Turning Point side with what I've done with those guys, to get to this point, it is very, very fulfilling. And I think that we should all take a look around and be like, man, we did it. And it's a we thing. This is a movement, right? This movement, they wanted to be dead and gone on January 7th, 2021. Yet, we only got stronger. We only got stronger. Feds in the crowd be damned. Here we are, 2025. Donald J. Trump's election has been certified, and we're 13 days away from the inauguration. Hallelujah. Let's go. Let's go. Now, Trump is he's back doing Trump things. The trolling continues, and I love the trolling. This is one of the main reasons I fell in love with Trump in 2015. The trolling. It's at an all-time GOAT level, and he's really going in on Justin Trudeau post-resignation, as he should. As he should. You know, the governor of Canada resigned yesterday, and Donald Trump reacted saying, "Many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat." Justin Trudeau knew this, and he resigned. If Canada merged with the U.S., there would be no tariffs, taxes would go way down, and they would be totally secure from the threat of Russian and Chinese ships that are constantly surrounding them. Together, what a great nation it would be. I love it. Canada's not going to become the 51st state, but the trolling is at an expert level. This is trolling the likes that we have never seen, and it's just so funny. It's hilarious. And you know what? Listen, not everybody in Canada is a complete wet blanket like Justin Trudeau. You know, Justin Trudeau yesterday during his resignation, when they talked about Pierre Poilievre being the favorite, he got choked up. He almost cried. Poor guy. Premier Doug Ford out of Ontario, though, it's like the governor there, Premier Doug Ford. He gets the jokes, and I'm here for it. And Premier Doug Ford made a counteroffer to Trump as opposed to Canada becoming the 51st state.
Trump once again talked about the idea of now a merger between Canada and the United States. You would dismiss that as a joke. At what point do you say that that's no longer a laughing matter and something that should be taken with quite a bit of seriousness?
Well, I know under my watch for Ontario, it'd never be for that at all. We have the greatest country in the world. We have the greatest province anywhere.
I mean, I think you should fact check those statements, but I'll let him keep going.
Any sub-sovereign nation is Ontario and the rest of the provinces as well.
Do you think he's joking?
We would, you know something, to the president, I'll make him a counteroffer. How about if we buy Alaska and we'll throw in Minnesota and Minneapolis at the same time? So, you know, it's not realistic.
Listen, you know what? I'll just give him Minnesota. You know, take it. Have you seen Minneapolis? All yours.
I know he likes making these comments and he likes joking around. I take that seriously. He may be joking, but under my watch, that will never ever happen.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Doug Ford. We know, but nobody's going to give you the credit for Canada not becoming the 51st state. But I do. I love the trolling, man. I love the joking back and forth. Doug Ford gets it. Kevin O'Leary was weighing in on Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre yesterday on Fox News. And there's a bit of news coming out from Kevin O'Leary. There's rumors that he wants to be the guy to buy TikTok. We'll talk about that later. But he said in this interview talking about Justin Trudeau, he's going to go down in history as the idiot king.
You know, I want to go back to that, but I want to address the future in Canada. And this is a quick soundbite from Pierre Poilievre, who is a conservative leader in Canada, who some are calling the Canadian Trump. Here's what his response was to Trudeau stepping down today. Watch.
While leaderless Liberals focus on saving their jobs and fighting each other for power, the country spirals out of control, an out-of-control housing emergency, an out-of-control migrant crisis, an out-of-control $62 billion deficit, not to mention tariff threats. from the United States.
So what do you think the outlook is for him and the future leadership in Canada?
Well, Canadians are in the British parliamentary system, so we have a very short fuse here. The Liberals, of which Trudeau was the leader, had a majority mandate a decade ago. They're about to get wiped out, and they're going to have 60 days to find a new leader. And Pierre, who you just detailed there, is going to become the majority leader most likely, and he'll be dealing with Trump. So his job, number one, is to get elected.
And it does look like he's going to get elected. I mean, for the record, Polymarket has him at incredible odds, and he does seem to be the favorite. He's the conservative leader of Canada. We'll go into how conservative this guy is in a minute, but, you know, Kevin O'Leary, he does feel pretty confident about Pierre Poilievre's chances of becoming the prime minister.
Unfortunately for Trudeau, you know, you have to respect the longevity. He's probably, after Mackenzie King, the longest prime minister in history. But he did it without any executional skills. That's very hard to do, but somehow he did it. But everything he touched over that 10-year period turned to, excuse my French, poo-poo. It all went to you-know-what.
Yep.
And the Canadian people finally realized this guy has no idea what he's doing. And unfortunately, his legacy, and these are harsh words, but by the metric of measuring GDP per capita, capital outflow, debt per capita, status of competition in the G20, they have all collapsed. And the one that really wrote him off was the Canadian dollar. Canadians have lost 41% of their net worth during his tenure. And he will go down in history as the idiot king.
He'll go down in history as the idiot king. Justin Trudeau, a decade of nothing. Congratulations. I loved his speech yesterday. I'm a fighter. I've always been a fighter. By the way, I'm resigning. Like I said, Polymarket really loves conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, and they have him at a 92% chance of becoming Canada's next prime minister in the elections. Now, he's 45, younger guy, and I like that. But they call him a conservative leader. But if you listen to his speech, one of the things he highlighted was like, he's like, ooh, we've had all these problems under Trudeau and all these crimes are up and hate crimes are up 250%. So I think, you know, conservative needs to be taken with a grain of salt. He's not going to be as conservative as an American conservative. It's a bit different. That being said, he doesn't deal with liberal talking points, and he doesn't deal well with liberal reporters. This video has been making the rounds once again. I think we played this last year, but they call him the Canadian Trump. I think that's a stretch. Let's be honest. But there is a video of Pierre Poilievre taking down a liberal reporter that's once again going viral, and I think, you know, time to play it. You know, you might as well be introduced to the guy that could be the next prime minister of Canada.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean?
Well, appealing to people's more emotional levels, I would guess. I mean, certainly you tap very strong ideological language quite frequently.
Like what?
Left wing, you know, this and that, right wing, you know, I mean, it's that type of ideological thing.
I never really talk about left
but
or right.
Anyways,
I don't really believe in that.
Okay. A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians.
He's taking this guy down while he's munching on an apple, by the way, and you can hear him crunching in the background. He's like, who said that? What people? When? Where? And the reporter has no answers.
But
like who?
I don't know who, but
well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody.
Okay, I'm sure there's some out there, but anyways, the point of this question is, I mean, why should Canadians trust you with their vote, given, you know, not just the sort of ideological inclination in terms of taking the page out of Donald Trump's book, but
what are you
also
talking about? What page? What page? Can you give me a page? Give me the page. You keep saying
in terms of turning things quite dramatically in terms of Trudeau and the left wing and all of this. I mean, you make quite a, you know, it's quite a play that you make on it. So I'm
not
just
sure.
wondering.
I don't know what your question is.
Then forget that. Why should Canadians trust you with their vote?
Common sense. Okay. Common sense.
I mean, that's really what he's going to bring to the table. Is he conservative as we would like him to be here in Middle Tennessee? No. Don't make a mistake. Is he going to be a drastic improvement from Justin Trudeau should he become the next Prime Minister of Canada? Abso-freaking-lutely. Oh, my gosh, yes, he's going to be an improvement. But Canada has a lot of problems. They do. Like, for instance, they have no Second Amendment over there. And I don't think a guy like Pierre Poilievre is going to be the guy that brings that back to the table. But, here in America, we do. Thank God we do. And with that, I want to tell you about my friends at the Glock store. I just went down there yesterday. And they have this deal in January where if you mention my name when you go in for a training session, you book your session at shoot270.com, you mention my name, you get to shoot a full auto H&K suppressed MP5. And I was like, okay, I need to get in there. I need to try this thing. So I went down there yesterday. You have to do it. You just got to do it. I've never shot anything full auto before, and that was one of the most fun I've ever had at my sessions at the Glock store for training. This H&K suppressed MP5 is phenomenal. It is unbelievable. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I do think you need to go down there yourself and try it out. You mention my name, you get to rent the gun for free. All you got to do is pay for the ammo. You're probably going to go through some ammo. We shot 60 rounds in a minute and a half. It was unreal. I loved it. So if you go down there, book your session at shoot270.com, get in the building and tell them Chris Hand told me that I can shoot an H&K suppressed MP5. I can rent the gun for free. I just got to pay for the ammo. They'll hook you up. That's the Glock store. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. Book your session today at shoot270.com.
Hey, we've got some more details about a potential snowstorm for Middle Tennessee. Also, another major U.S. company quits its DEI programs. We've got those stories coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 926 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. I'm Chris Hand. So the Canada memes continue. Also, the Greenland memes aren't ceasing to exist. And Donald Trump Jr. Has landed in Greenland, along with Charlie Kirk and a few other representatives of the Trump administration. And the people of Greenland, they want to be out of Denmark control and in America's hands. In fact, there's a video going viral of a guy in Greenland wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat, saying, "Please make Greenland great again."
So, if you could tell Trump anything, what would it be?
Buy us.
Buy Greenland?
Buy Greenland.
Why do you want Trump to buy Greenland?
Because we don't want to be colonized by Danish government anymore. We get ripped every year about our minerals from Greenland. We are the richest nation in the world, and we don't get to use it. Denmark's using us too much.
Do you like America?
I love America, but people are too fat over there.
So that guy wants to be all in. He's like, yeah, take us off the Danes' hands, please. And at their they have a lunch meeting today. Donald Trump Jr., Charlie Kirk, and a few other representatives of the Trump administration. And President-elect Trump called into the meeting.
And I thought it'd be great to go up there with his two very talented friends and the other group, a lot of other people. So I just want to say that it's a very special place. It needs security for itself, but it also needs security very much for the world. The location really, you see the people and the ships sailing around, and they're not the right ships. And they're not the ships you want to know about. So we need security, and our country needs it, and the whole world needs it.
Yes.
You're so strategically located.
Yeah. I mean, the people there, they're agreeing with Donald Trump on the phone, saying, listen, you look at the ships going around Greenland. It's not the ships you want. The people want security. We can bring it to you. And you hear a guy in the background just yell, yes. But the memes are not ceasing to exist. I'd be loving Greenland. I think that has a real chance of happening. The Canada stuff is just a joke. But listen, Greenland, why not? Why not? Bring it home. If anybody can do it, it's Donald J. Trump, honestly. So Don Jr.'s in Greenland right now. Charlie Kirk is with Don Jr. in Greenland right now. Elon Musk weighed in on Greenland, and he says, with their calls for independence, I think they want to be part of America. He said the people of Greenland should decide their future, and I think they want to be part of America. So I think that the wheels of change are in motion in Greenland, and it's pretty cool. What would you call the people of Greenland? Greenlanders? Is it Greenlanders? Anyway, there's a group of Greenlanders wearing MAGA hats now, and that is a sight to be seen. It's all over Twitter. You can find it at my account, at Chris Hand on Air. I'll be retweeting those. And on the way, we got a lot more to talk about. The Trump team is reacting to the Biden drilling ban, plus Trump on J6ers and their fate, and bitter Democrats after the events that went down yesterday with Kamala Harris certifying the election win of Donald J. Trump. All that and more on the way right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And like it or not, looks like we've got a snow event coming on Friday. Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro tells us the mid-state could see a couple of inches of snow before the weekend begins.
More into those nitty-gritty details as we get a little bit closer to the day. But just know this will be a healthy and shovelable snowfall for us across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky.
Now, it is early, so it's likely we'll see some changes to that forecast. But TDOT says if we do get the accumulation that Stefano is predicting, they're ready for it.
When it comes to plowing roads, our priority is going to be interstates first and our heavily traveled state routes. then our secondary state routes. We'll apply that brine, and it's going to be significantly more than what we did for this previous event, just because we're looking for probably more precipitation, more accumulation.
TDOT's Aaron Ziegler speaking with Channel 4 about the approaching weather system. Keep it here, and we will keep you updated. Well, McDonald's has announced it'll stop serving up a helping of DEI with its burgers.
McDonald's is the latest company to announce an end to some of its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The fast food giant says it also intends to stop encouraging its suppliers to create diversity training-based programs and will also pause external surveys. It follows the Supreme Court's decision in 2023 that banned affirmative action in college admissions. Walmart, John Deere, Ford, and Lowe's are among other big corporations that move to roll back diversity programs. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
That's the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Appreciate you, Jones. It's Chris Hand for USS, United Structural Systems. Now, the guys at USS have been working overtime in 2024, having over 30,000 satisfied residential customers, and they are going to kick off 2025 for you in the right way. Are you noticing foundation issues in your home? Cracks in that brick, sinking steps? Are you having waterproofing issues? Water getting into your crawl space or basement? Maybe you noticed that after the rain a couple days ago. But listen, these problems are only going to get worse if you ignore them. And let's be honest, it could be a quick fix. You want to call somebody who will tell you the truth no matter what, whether it's nothing or whether it's something major. That's why homeowners trust United Structural Systems, because they're not working on a sales quota. They're working to do the right thing for their customers every single time. That's why they've been doing it since 1994. That's why they're not going anywhere. If you have foundation issues, if you have waterproofing issues, call who homeowners trust. Call the guys that do their best. Call USS. They'll take the stress out of your home repair. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. USS, keeping homes dry and stable online, USSTN.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
This is a disgraceful decision by the Biden administration. And I say the administration because we all know Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on. This isn't him. This is the radical left environmental extremists in his administration who don't care about what's in the best interest of the American people who just reelected President Trump with a resounding mandate to drill, baby, drill. This decision, the intent behind it is to exact political revenge on the American people and on President Trump to try to slow down his administration and make it harder to implement the agenda that he campaigned on. But the good news is President Trump is going to get to work to day one. His administration will look at how we can rescind this radical order and expedite permits for drilling and for fracking to bring down the cost of living and energy in this country. That's what he campaigned on, and the American people can expect President Trump to deliver on that promise. He will not be deterred.
That's incoming White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt yesterday on Fox News. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Responding there, Carolyn Leavitt was to Biden banning offshore oil, gas drilling in most federal waters. Trump vows to reverse it. And a lot of people are saying this is mostly symbolic because a lot of these areas, not high prospects anyway, but Joe Biden's long-threatened push to ban new offshore oil and gas drilling in most U.S. coastal waters is going ahead in a move designed to thwart President-elect Donald Trump's administration promise to expand offshore drilling in the name of ensuring America's energy self-sufficiency. That's according to Breitbart.com. Trump has already made clear that he's going to reverse that immediately on day one. On day one. But this is just what we're seeing with the Biden administration. This is the most petty transition of power we've ever seen. Let's be honest. It's a peaceful transition of power. That's what we pride ourselves on. That's what all the Democrats have been yelling for the last 4 years, yet we're getting a petty transition of power. Breitbart News reported Biden, whose term expires in 2 weeks. Let me read that one line again. Breitbart News reported Biden, whose term expires in 2 weeks, claims authority under the Federal Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act to protect offshore areas along the east and west coasts, the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and portions of Alaska's northern Bering Sea from future oil and natural gas leasing. This is what the statement said. They say it's from Biden, but, you know, if you know, you know, right? I don't think he typed it. I don't think he even probably read it. But the statement they said was from Joe Biden, said, "My decision reflects what coastal communities, businesses, and beachgoers have known for a long time, that drilling off these coasts could cause irreversible damage to places we hold dear and is unnecessary to meet our nation's energy needs. As the climate crisis continues to threaten communities across the country and we are transitioning to a clean energy economy, now is the time to protect these coasts for our children and grandchildren." I'm fine with keeping the coasts beautiful and not having oil rigs on there, but the climate crisis hysteria, miss me with that. Miss me. It's just so silly. And Trump said he's going to reverse it on day one. He said he's going to reverse it. So let's see what happens. AP reports that Trump declared yesterday he's having none of that. After he's inaugurated on January 20th, it will be changed on day one. I can change it immediately. I will unban it immediately, Trump told conservative radio host Hugh Hewitt. I have the right to unban it. That's what Trump said yesterday. He said the U.S. has oil and gas at a level that nobody else has, and we're going to take advantage of it. And he said we can't let these bans happen to the country. It is really our greatest economic asset, Donald Trump said. But again, this is just what we're seeing from the Biden administration. On the way out the door, they're trying to sell border wall materials. They're trying to ban offshore drilling. It's a petty transition of power. And Biden is being as petty as he can on the way out. As petty as he can. One of the other things that he's done is the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay. We had 11 Yemeni prisoners have been transferred out of Guantanamo Bay. And part of me wonders if that's a shot at Obama, like, hey, you know, you said you're going to close Guantanamo. He's like, I'm doing it. I'm going to do it. But, 11 Yemeni terrorists from Guantanamo Bay have now been moved, Biden administration releasing them to Oman. Yep. These were terrorists who were captured after the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks They were in Guantanamo. Now, the men had been approved for transfer by national security officials more than 2 years ago. They were approved to be transferred to Oman on Monday. Is it Oman or Oman? I don't know. According to NPR News, the country reportedly agreed to help resettle them and provide security monitoring for the 11 prisoners who were described as being former Al-Qaeda members. Do you get to be a former Al-Qaeda member, or is that like a mafia kind of blood in, blood out thing? You know, how does that work? Does anybody know? How do you become a former Al-Qaeda member? Is there a rehabilitation program at Guantanamo Bay that is just top notch? Is that something that they do? The outlet noted, NPR did, that the transfers of the prisoners were originally scheduled to happen in October of 2023, but were paused due to concerns regarding the instability of the Middle East in the aftermath of the Hamas attack on Israel in October. Oh, so you were going to let them go, and then you couldn't because the Middle East was unstable. Who made the Middle East unstable again? I thought it was somebody. Can't quite remember. Weird. All right, so the plan was resurrected during Biden's final 2 weeks in office, and they say it signals a last-ditch effort by his administration to shrink Guantanamo's prisoner population and get closer to his goal of trying to close the facility. In recent weeks, the U.S. has transferred 4 other Guantanamo inmates, a Kenyan, a Tunisian, and 2 Malaysians, and is preparing for the transfer of at least one more, an Iraqi. So Joe Biden's just letting terrorists out of Guantanamo, no big deal. Oman has stated that it plans to assist the 11 Yemeni prisoners in finding housing, jobs, and other support systems in an effort to help them rebuild their lives, according to the outlet. This is not the first time the Biden administration has released a prisoner from Guantanamo Bay who has links to terrorist organizations. And as you heard above, it's not going to be the last. As Breitbart News' Francis Martel previously reported, it was June of 2022. Asadullah Harun Gul, an Afghan national who had links to al-Qaeda, was also released from Guantanamo Bay. In March of 22, the Department of Defense under the Biden administration also released Mohammed Mani Ahmed al-Qahtani to Saudi Arabia. The release of al-Qahtani came after he spent nearly 20 years in prison for his involvement in the September 11 terrorist attack. Why are we letting anybody out that had involvement in September 11 terrorist attacks? It's wild. Biden has said for a while now he wants to close Guantanamo Bay by the end of his term. He's working towards that. Trump is just going to reopen it. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Biden wants to empty out Guantanamo. It's not going to happen. That's ours. And we're going to put terrorists there. And Lord knows, thanks to Biden and his wide open southern border, we're going to have a lot more terrorists that we get to capture now. Joy, right? It's a joyful thing. You know, they'll say lone wolves. They'll say, oh, it has nothing to do with the open border. But, you know, we all know. But this is where we're at, the petty transfer of power via Joe Biden. 2 weeks. We got 2 weeks left. Can't get here quick enough. It cannot get here quick enough. Meanwhile, the Democrats are just so bitter that Donald Trump is even president again in the first place. Yesterday, Claire McCaskill was on MSNBC, and she says that she is downright bitter that Donald Trump didn't have a higher political price to pay for January 6th.
So Congressman points out you have a credibly accused rapist in Pete Hegseth. You have a self-described dog murderer in Kristi Noem. You have someone found liable for sexual assault in Donald Trump and a convicted felon. You have an incoming president who describes people who physically beat law enforcement officers, who describes that beating as a, quote, love fest. Love fest. How do you protect everyone else in the chain of the rule of law? How do you protect the jurors? How do you protect the judges? How do you protect the courts themselves?
Well, today was certainly a bittersweet day. And candidly, I'm bitter. I'm bitter that a higher political price wasn't paid for what Donald Trump did on January 6th.
Yeah, well, deal with it. Donald Trump did nothing on January 6th. You had federal assets in the crowd riling them up. You had police officers opening the doors wide and letting people walk in. You know how you know January 6th wasn't an insurrection? Because if Donald Trump wanted to, he could have. If he had said, I need every veteran, police officer, firefighter, strong man in the country that supports me to come because we're taking this country back, you know what would have happened? They would have took the country back. Let's be perfectly honest. You had millions of people in D.C. not armed, and it's the most armed demographic in the world. I'm so bitter, former Senator Claire McCaskill says, that a higher political price wasn't paid for what Trump did on January 6th. Oh, what? Like try to get the National Guard out there when he was shut down by the mayor and Nancy Pelosi? Oh, okay. I'm so bitter. Yeah, well, we understand that. All the Democrats are bitter today. And you know what? Deal with it.
Something is broken, and we need to acknowledge that. And the other thing we have to keep front of mind, Nicole, is that Donald Trump didn't win 50% of the votes. This is an evenly divided country.
I'd fact check you on that. He won the popular vote. Deal with it.
It's about half and half. And a chunk of those folks that voted for Donald Trump ignored everything except the fact they don't like the status quo.
Well, I mean, if the status quo is trying to trans our kids, energy dependence on other countries, if the status quo is inflation, if the status quo is woke radical ideology, yeah, we don't like that status quo. If that's the status quo the last 4 years, we understand what time it is, and the American people voted decisively. He won 7 out of 7 swing states. Deal with it. Claire McCaskill, I'm a bit bitter. That might be the most honest thing that she said in that whole interview. I'm a bit bitter. Yeah, we can tell. We can all tell that you're bitter. I mean, geez Louise. This is what we can expect over the next 4 years, though. Downright lies and smears and narratives and talking points of Orange Man bad. You know, I thought that maybe some of the media would have a moment of clarity, and some have. But MSNBC, they're about to get sold, and it's like they're just doubling down on the same radical leftist ideology that put them in the gutter of ratings. And they think that that's going to fix things. Spoiler alert. It's not. It's not. On the way, a lot to discuss. Rep. Robert Garcia and his views on how Donald Trump won the election, but Democrats need to keep fighting. Plus, Adam Schiff threatening the president, saying if he violates the Constitution, well, there's going to be some hell to pay. I'll bring you those comments on the way. Hang out with us. It's 9:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Coming up at 10 o'clock, snow lovers have a little something to love in our forecast. And what about that single big, beautiful bill? What one senator has to say about the chances that Donald Trump will get it passed. That's coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 9:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Real quick, we got a real live Canadian on the phone. Gord, you're in Canada right now?
I am in Canada, sir. I live here, and I've been here my whole life. So,
how did you find us?
Well, I'm on Facebook. So I'm on the Facebook Live there. I just came upon your show a while ago, not today. I mean, I've listened to it a few times. You're kind of like a younger guy or whatever. Most of the guys in the conservative radio market and stuff are kind of older, so it's kind of, I don't know, I find it a little interesting listening to you about the American stuff.
Well, hey, I appreciate it. I'm interested in the Canadian stuff. What's the temperature on the ground right there now today after the resignation of Justin Trudeau?
Well, you want me to give it to you in Celsius or Fahrenheit there?
Yeah, hey, give it to me, man. Let me know what you guys are thinking.
Do you know what that is, Celsius?
Yes. Come on. Listen, we understand the public school meme, but we know Fahrenheit and Celsius.
All right, yeah. I noticed you mentioned about Polyev, and he's a conservative, definitely, and he's pretty much like he's a MAGA kind of guy, to be honest. Like, he's got the kind of same vibes as Trump. And it was interesting to me, though, you said you picked out something, and I found it interesting. I never even thought of it before, and that is that you're right, he's anti-hate crime, and we do want somebody to be pro-hate crime, ideally, or. No, I'm just
I know you're pulling my leg, but he uses what I notice with him is he uses a lot of the liberal verbiage that gets used, and to me, I'm like, I don't buy into that stuff. Like, listen, an assault.
You don't buy into a hate crime? You're one of the. I got it. Like, a crime is a hate crime, no matter what.
If I'm assaulting somebody, it's not because I love them. Like, it's a crime.
Yes, of course. But if somebody goes into like a grocery store or whatever, and it's like, hey, I've been seeing some stuff online here, and I want to kill exclusively black people. I want to go to a black-owned grocery store, and I want to kill a bunch of innocent black people. I think that's what they're talking about. Is like that would be like a hate crime where they're like.
I would argue for you to give me examples of that happening in Canada. And I would just.
It didn't happen in Canada. It happened in America.
Yeah,
that one that I gave
in Buffalo. I know what you're talking about, but I would just call that
close to Canada, though. That's why I know about it, because it's close to Canada. But I did also want to mention the shirt that you got there that you're wearing. Is that from? That looks like a Marshall shirt, like the kind they got like 150 of them on the rack for $14.99. It's not a good. Is that the way the Americans are doing their fashion? It's not a good fashion look. I'll be honest with you. It's like something a dad would. You're a younger guy. You should be wearing something.
Am I just getting trolled by Hoosiers now? Is that what I'm dealing with?
No, it's not a troll at all. You're going to be on the video stream. You know what I'm talking about. You go into a.
This is a nice shirt. What are you talking about?
No, you see 150 of those same shirts. They're the thin hoodie. They got that little material.
Listen,
it's
we'll put the camera on my producer. He's wearing red flannel, which I'm sure you're much more accustomed to up north.
I mean, yeah, but honestly, it's better fashion regardless of where you are. A red flannel, if you look at all into fashion right now, what you're wearing right now is not a good look at all. Yeah, no, he's truly your producer. It just went over to him right now.
Yeah.
He truly cares about fashion and actually cares about the way he looks, and he genuinely looks good. He genuinely looks good. You look like somebody who has no concern whatsoever with it, and it's like it's not a good look. You got the Marshall's look going on. But anyways, yeah, good luck with it. We hope. Hopefully,
Gord,
I guess we want hate crimes up in 2025, or I'm not really sure.
Gord, listen, I'm assuming it's short for Gordy, and I'm assuming you were named after a hockey legend,
my full name is Gord Foot.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you're named after a hockey legend, like most people in Canada. I want to get your number.
Did you catch that one? I think your producer caught that
I
one.
caught it. I just moved on.
Play on your name.
Yeah, I got you.
On your name there.
I want to get. I'm gonna put you on hold. I want my producer to get your number because now that we have a Canadian expert, I want to refer to you from now on when we have issues to the north.
Even though I don't like you at all, even though I hate you and think you're a geek.
Yeah, I feel like that makes it even better.
Okay. Sounds good, brother. I'll give him your number.
All right. Hey, congratulations on becoming the 51st state, and we love America's hat.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, brother.
Yeah.
It's 10:01 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 10 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Drier today and a little on the frigid side, too, and that's going to stick around. Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro has his eye on what may be coming at the end of the week.
Friday, of course, is the day that we are paying very close attention to. Potential significant snowstorm is headed to the mid-state. Accumulations of at least 2 inches across most of Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky.
Now, it is a little early to start panicking, and we'll keep an eye on this storm for the rest of this week and keep you informed. A single big, beautiful bill or not, congressional Republicans are working out how to deliver the Trump agenda quickly after Inauguration Day. The favored method seems to be using reconciliation to pass a big bill. Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida told ABC he's not worried about how it gets done.
Whether it's 1 bill, 2 bill, 5 bills, in a lot of respects is really inconsequential. It's really about the content and the agenda, and we're going to make sure that his agenda gets done.
Republicans could implement everything Trump wants without Democratic support using reconciliation. The procedure requires only a simple majority to pass spending bills in the House and the Senate. They got him. Police have arrested the man wanted for a shooting at a Walmart in Lebanon on Saturday night. He was arrested after someone called police with a tip about where to find 27-year-old David Raleigh. Just before his arrest, police released body camera footage. Here's Channel 4's Dryden Quigley.
Body cam video from police captures the moments they ran into a Walmart in Lebanon after receiving a call for a shooting.
Get out right now.
In minutes, they were able to evacuate the store and alert neighbors to shelter in place.
Clear. Clear.
Surveillance video showed Raleigh and another man getting into an altercation just outside the front doors of the store, and that's when the shot was fired. Police are still trying to figure out if those two men knew each other. Facebook is getting a revamp. NBC reporting that CEO Mark Zuckerberg has announced a series of major changes. The most notable is that fact checkers are going away. He made that announcement in a video posted this morning.
After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system.
Zuckerberg also saying the recent elections felt like a cultural tipping point, prioritizing free speech. That's the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Thank you for being here wherever you're listening, even if you're in America's hat like our friend Gord. Hey, Gord, I accidentally disconnected from you when we were talking, and I was honest. I was serious. I wanted to get your number. So call back so that way my producer can get your contact info, because I love a good troll, and I'd love to get a Canadian guest on regular rotation.
So good. I love the super text after that whole thing too. I love the Canadian on Canadian crime. It's good.
I often get accused of being Canadian. It's one of the worst insults that can be levied at me. But now I'm very self-conscious about my shirt.
No, I think it looks good. I like it.
Listen, I loved that call. Did not expect it.
It's not at all what we thought.
Are we sure he was actually from Canada?
I have no idea. It was like the way he referenced more places in Canada than I could ever like actually name off the top of my head. So
he sounded like a Canuck.
It sounded everything correct. Otherwise, he's really studied the accent to pull off.
So, hey, Gord, call back so we can get your get
your number and everything.
Yeah, I want Gord to be calling back. He's funny. I don't know.
That was awesome.
Was that him trying to be mean?
I think so.
That was the best part.
Your shirt. Everybody has one of those.
my favorite text was 0727. Did Matt move from Smyrna to Toronto? You know, we haven't heard from Matt from Smyrna in quite a while.
We haven't.
We need a wellness check on Matt from Smyrna. He usually would call in around this time.
Yeah.
If you're not aware, that we get our hate listeners, we get our trolls occasionally. Matt just vehemently disagrees with me on just about everything, and I love that. Usually, people that disagree get front of the line 615-737-9986. But I haven't heard from Matt since what was it? Right around November 5th.
Yeah, it was like right before.
Could there be any reason you think?
No, I don't know.
Nothing comes to the top of my mind.
Nothing. Sorry, I can't even continue with that one. Ugh. You know what I want though? A good conversation between Matt and Gord would be fun.
Yo, imagine we could get those two guys on the line at the same time.
Bro, I'll lock it in.
Yeah, we should
lock it in.
That is appointment listening.
So good.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the call, Gord. Call back, please, because we want to lock you in. But there's a lot of news to get to. Canadians be damned. They think that they're the biggest story of the day, but we got a lot more to get to than America's hat. Listen, Trump, yesterday, the conversation obviously circled around January 6th, the deadliest day in American history. Sonny Hostin on The View compared it to the Holocaust. Yes. I don't understand why these women are employed. I don't understand who watches these women. But yesterday on The View, Sonny Hostin actually compared the Holocaust to January 6th. And I don't know about you, but 6 million deaths of innocent Jews seems a bit more, wild than what happened on January 6th. But leave it to The View. Leave it to The View to break it down that way. And they did. They absolutely did. Sonny Hostin yesterday on The View, she compares January 6th to the Holocaust.
I think we need to find moral clarity, in this country. And I just remember after January 6th, you had someone like Mitch McConnell placing the blame on January 6th where it belonged, squarely on Donald Trump's shoulders. Mm-hmm. And then you started seeing people backtrack that and losing their moral center. You had Condoleezza Rice, I believe, on this very show saying, we need to move on from January 6th. Mm-hmm. I say no. You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery.
Chattel slavery.
We need to never forget. Because
listen, January 6th was just like World War II and the Holocaust and chattel slavery. If you think they're melting down now just on the 4th anniversary of January 6th, the darkest day in American history, Just wait, because Trump is expected to grant clemency to over 1,000 J6 defendants. President-elect Donald Trump is expected to do that day one. He's going to be taking a look at it. According to Bloomberg, there's a high expectation that over 1,000 people that have been convicted are going to get clemency. During his Time magazine interview last year, he said he would go case by case, and if they were nonviolent, he thinks they've been greatly punished. ALX on Twitter also reporting this. If their heads are exploding just because it's the anniversary, wait until the pardons start coming. Just wait until the pardons start coming. But they're so bitter. Rep. Robert Garcia was on MSNBC as well yesterday. It's always MSNBC where these lunatic leftists go. But he says Donald Trump won the election, but that doesn't mean that we should sit on our hands. It's like, it's fight, 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 right? This is the resistance. Remember that in 2016? Viva la resistance. This is happening again.
How do you protect everyone involved in the adjudication of the crimes committed by the insurrectionists, the judges who were on the record with I read some of their very clear statements about recidivism and about the person who inspired the attack. How do you protect the system, the rule of law, the judges, the jurors, the prosecutors, if you have in a chief executive someone who exonerates acts of violence against cops?
Look, I think this is going to be difficult, and it's a challenge I think that Congress has in front of itself, and unfortunately, you have majorities now dominated by Republicans and extremists that have really no interest in uplifting institutions and the rule of law.
Now we're in control by extremists, right? We've been in control by extremists for quite a while under Biden's administration. You know, these radical leftist prosecutors who let people out of jail that commit heinous crimes, but they want to focus on J6ers. Donald Trump already said he's going to go through case by case. And the ones that were nonviolent could be granted clemency, could be pardoned. Their heads are going to explode.
But I think it's important that as Democrats, as a Congress, that we bring light, that we push, that we bring the truth out in front of the public. And at the same time, our agencies have a role to protect our judges and folks that have been involved in these cases. I know that there's current conversations at the White House. They are actively discussing this. I know there's been discussions about federal pardons. There's been discussions about how agencies can protect those that have been involved. I personally also support those efforts. But I think we've also got to be very realistic that we don't know the revenge tour that Donald Trump is about to go on.
Oh, it's going to be a revenge tour. Did you notice the part where he said Democrats are supposed to be truth and light? Yeah, the irony wasn't lost on me.
He is a dangerous man and a dangerous person as president. And as we think about the folks that he wants to put in charge of our agencies, Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, Kristi Noem.
Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat. She quite literally ran for president in 2020 on the Democrat ticket. And she was totally a darling of the Democrat Party for years and years and years. Tulsi Gabbard, he says. Kash Patel, overqualified for the gig. Overqualified. Pete Hegseth, very qualified for the gig. Yeah, you know what? You know what really bugs these people is that the people Donald Trump is putting in aren't controlled by the deep state. That's the issue here.
I mean, these are people that have no business involved in any of our national security apparatus, and the very people that would be responsible in taking on other insurrectionists in the future. I think this is also a solemn and sad day for the country.
It's a solemn and sad day for the country. It's so solemn and so sad. Did you see there was Chuck Schumer and a couple other Democrats, they held a moment of silence yesterday for January 6th? But the resistance is in motion. Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff, he says, listen, they're going to be on Donald Trump's tail. And if he violates that law, violates the Constitution, they're on him.
So we have to try to find ways to work together to attack these structural problems.
So focus on those issues and, investigations and questions about his conduct and so forth that you were very focused on, others were as well. That will be secondary?
Well, I think we hope for the best. We keep a focus on trying to get positive, affirmative things done for the country. But a lot will depend on how he chooses to govern. If he violates the law, if he violates the Constitution, if he abuses his office, we will vigorously push back, fight back, stand up to him, as we had to do during his first term in office.
Yeah, I remember that first term in office. When you kept screaming from the rooftops that you had evidence of Russian collusion. And then you never provided any evidence of Russian collusion because there was none there. Yeah. We'll scream it from the rooftops.
But my priority is to try to get things done for my California constituents, realizing, though, they also expect me to stand up to him when he attacks the Constitution or their freedom.
Oh, yeah, or their freedom. Like the freedom to, poop on the sidewalk in California. The freedom to use, needle drugs whenever they want with needles provided by the government. Yeah, that's a lot of freedoms in California. Brian in Clarksville wants to talk about Jan 6th, the deadliest day in American history. Brian, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, man?
Hey, man, it could not be a better day to see President Trump stand at the gates of a prison and watch 1,000 or more people come out, and he hand them $1 million checks to make up for what they've been through and to clean their record, let them get on with their lives, because their lives have been probably miserably ruined. They don't think about the ripple effect of the wives and the husbands, and then Ashley Babbitt's murderer should be put on trial publicly, in my opinion, and then go after the judges that put those people behind bars because of the overreach and the abuse of legal powers. Just set up a section of the DOJ to do that. Fix that first. After he fixes the border and several things, he could do that in pretty short order. I think, get some people working on that.
Yeah.
Those people, I feel so sorry when you have that lady on whose husband is still up there and she's fighting like
Sarah McAbee. Sarah McAbee.
And that breaks my heart every time. I'm riding down the interstate right now in a free country. I think. Yeah. And I think we're turning the corner again. And praise God for that.
Amen. I mean, God intervened on July 13th. Let's be absolutely honest. And
no
Sarah,
doubt.
Sarah McAbee, she does such good work. Stand in the Gap Foundation that she started.
Man.
She gets donations and arranges flights for families to go to prisons to visit the J6ers that are locked up. She gets money raised to hire appellate lawyers to go on their cases. She is an absolute rock star, and I hope that Donald Trump takes a look at Ronald McAbee's case and gets that changed.
She meets the biblical standard of the least of these. She's helping the least of these in that case.
Amen.
Praise God for her.
Yeah.
I hope she's listening. She's the real deal.
Yeah, no, Sarah
so
McAbee.
Are you, bro?
So are you. I appreciate you, Brian, and I hope you like my shirt. But thank you for the call. Do you like that?
Nice little throw in there.
No, Sarah McAbee's awesome, and there are so many J6 families that are in the same position that Sarah McAbee's in, and I hope that Donald Trump gets in there day one and really does dive into these clemencies and dives into pardons and gets these people released. 1,600 people have been arrested, and there were 26 at least. So am I off the air now? Can they still hear me on the stream? Hold on, we got like a couple more random tones. Are we done with the EAS test?
I think we're clear. The light went out. I think we're good.
Like I understand. I understand why we have to do the EAS tests, but has there? It's just annoying. I was in mid thought, and then boom. It's like can't they let us know when it's going to be? Kind of like a fire drill a little bit.
Yeah, I got like a 2-second head start. I saw the light come on, and I was like, wait, okay, is this real? Or is this? Because sometimes the light comes on and nothing happens, and sometimes it's like, we're going to interrupt your entire day.
All right.
Here we are.
We'll get back to more in a minute. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
No thanks. 2 death row inmates reject President Biden's commutations. And ready for some snow? Looks like it's coming this week. Those stories coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, the guys that said that they didn't want the Biden clemency, that's a wild story. Looking forward to that. Thank you, Joan Jones. It's 10:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Before we were so rudely interrupted by the EAS test, what were we talking about? I don't know. I thought it was happening for a second. Did anybody else think it was happening?
Are we over?
I said, oh no. I felt like Ron Paul in the meme. I'd just start waving my arms. It's happening.
Look like a dang Muppet just flailing around.
Well, I'll tell you what, there is a happening of epic proportions, and it's kicking off in Louisiana. It has nothing to do with the terror attacks. It's Pandemic 2.0. The first U.S. bird flu death has been recorded in Louisiana. We got to get shots in arms, people. We got to slow the spread. Let's lock it down. 2 weeks. Come on. It's just 2 weeks. It won't turn into 2 years. Why would that happen? The first bird flu-related death has been reported by the Louisiana Department of Health. The patient contracted the scary H5N1. The patient, who was over the age of 65, reportedly had underlying medical conditions. Weird, where have I heard that before? And contracted bird flu after being exposed to a combination of wild birds and a non-commercial backyard flock. Louisiana Department of Health has not identified any additional cases or evidence or person-to-person transmission. The department expresses its deepest condolences to the patient's family and friends. They mourn the loss of their loved ones, as do we at WTN. Due to the patient confidentiality and respect for the family, this will be the final update on the patient. But this is what they've been pushing for, right? A new pandemic. It feels like that's coming. That's coming. The department said the current health risk to the general public remains low, but the talking heads on CNN and all over the place, from Deborah Birx and Leanna Wen and go on, right? They're really worried about this. The patient had been the first severe case of avian influenza A virus, also known as H5N1 in the country. The CDC confirmed on December 18th that the patient had been hospitalized, making the first instance of severe illness linked to the virus in the U.S. It's the only guy. He's the only guy that has died from H5N1 in the country, and it's the only human case of H5N1 in Louisiana. But like doesn't it feel like they want to gin up a little bit more hysteria for a pandemic? Even after COVID, they were like, oh, but the next pandemic's going to be even worse. We're worried about the next pandemic. We got to get these shots rolled out. I will abstain personally. I don't know about you. Right now, Trump is giving a press conference announcing an Emirati billionaire will invest $20 billion into building data centers in the U.S. This is happening at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And when we return, we'll try and jump into this press conference live. It gives me flashbacks to the last press conference where, was it a Japanese billionaire was like investing $1 billion in America? And he said, Trump went up to the mic and said, how about we do $2 billion? Can we do two? So we'll come and join this press conference when we get back after the newscast with Joan Jones, which starts right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 10:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Two of those death row inmates whose death sentences were commuted last month by President Biden have refused his overture. Shannon Agofsky and Len Davis have both refused to sign the paperwork accepting his clemency action. They both believe that having their sentences commuted would put them at a legal disadvantage as they seek to appeal their cases based on claims of innocence. One of them said having a death sentence draws attention to misconduct at the Justice Department. Well, like it or not, looks like we've got a snow event coming on Friday, and Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro tells us that the mid-state could see a couple of inches of snow before the weekend starts.
More into those nitty-gritty details as we get a little bit closer to the day, but just know this will be a healthy and shovelable snowfall for us across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky.
Now, it's early, so it's likely we'll see some changes to this forecast, but TDOT says if we do get the accumulation that Stefano is predicting, they are ready for it.
When it comes to plowing roads, our priority is going to be interstates first and our heavily traveled state routes. Then our secondary state routes. We'll apply that brine, and it's going to be significantly more than what we did for this previous event, just because we're looking for probably more precipitation, more accumulation.
TDOT's Aaron Ziegler speaking with Channel 4. Keep it here. We'll keep you updated. And no more fact checkers at Facebook. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg announcing this morning that they'll use community notes instead, and there are other changes.
Changes include moving the company's trust and safety team from California to Texas in an effort to address the concern that biased employees are over-censoring content, according to Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. He also says his companies will work with President Trump to push back against foreign governments going after American companies to censor more.
ABC's Mike Dubusky. Meta also adding Dana White to its board of directors. White is a close friend of Donald Trump and the CEO of the UFC. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
It's 10:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Donald Trump is giving a press conference right now, day one after Congress has certified his election win. We're going to join it live real quick. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. You need a water filter? Call Better Water LLC. Let's go now live to Trump giving a press conference.
And that's going to all end. And we have a great military. I defeated ISIS, as you know. We're in no wars. I just finished a couple. And we got also our soldiers guarding Syria and Turkey. We're in the middle. We had 5,000 soldiers that would have been gobbled up with two armies. We had one army, 300,000. We had another one, 500,000 or 600,000, getting ready. We had 5,000 people in the middle. I said to a general, how do 5,000 people do in that case? And the general just looked at me and said, not well, sir, not well. And I took him out. And you know what happened? Nothing. I got criticized. I saved 5,000 lives, actually. And we did a great job, and we're going to do an even better job because now we have a tremendous amount of experience. We have people that I can rely on. But the 625 million acres, people can't realize. It's like the whole ocean. Take an acre. You know, an acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal. Now you multiply that by 625 million acres. It's feels like the whole ocean. And that's our strength, you know. People can say we manufacture, we don't manufacture. The thing we have oil and gas more than anybody in the world. And we're going to have more of it, too.
Facts.
But they took away 625 million acres of offshore drilling. Nobody else does that. And they think they have it, but we'll put it back. I'm going to put it back on day one. I'm going to have it revoked on day one. We'll go immediately if we need to. I don't think we should have to go to the courts, but if we do have to go to the courts, you know, they try to be sneaky. They go in and they sign. Remember, this is a man that said he wants the transition to be smooth. Well, you don't do the kind of things. You don't have a judge working real hard to try and embarrass you. Because I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong. If I did something wrong, I wouldn't be standing here right now because I've won all these cases. Nobody's ever won so many cases as I have against the Justice Department. I mean, Jack Smith had cases all over the place. People were being subpoenaed. Lives were being ruined. They were spending everything they had, money. We were helping them out. We had to. They were subpoenaing people that had no idea what they were even talking about. That's a sick group of people. And it was all to influence the election. It was all a fight against a political opponent. We've never had that in this country. We have had that in certain countries. We've had that in third-tier countries. We've had that in banana republics, but we've never had that in a place like the United States. I don't even know if it's been on a small level. I'm sure it has been on a small level, but this was the largest level ever. They brought this moron out of The Hague. He's a mean guy. He's a mean, nasty guy. His picture was perfect because you look at his picture, you say, that's a bad guy with his robe, his purple robe. And he executes people. He shouldn't be allowed to execute people because he'll execute everybody. He's a nut job. But we won all of those cases with him. And, I mean, I don't know the judge in Florida, but we had a brilliant judge in Florida that saw right through it. And we won the case. She was a brilliant judge with great courage. You know, the left, as we call them, the radical left, they have a way, they play the ref, and they play it very hard. They play the ref. They go and say horrible things about judges and prosecutors. And some judges and prosecutors say, look, the only way I'm going to get these people off my back is to give victory to them. They're playing the ref. I think it's illegal what they do. It's almost like talking. It's worse than talking to a judge. But the judge in Florida, Judge Cannon, was brilliant and tough, and she didn't stand for it. And I don't know her. And never met her until the case, and I don't believe I said even one word to her. But she was very, very strong and very, very brilliant. And her opinion was so brilliant that they dropped their appeal. They couldn't beat the appeal. So that's what we're up against. So they say we're going to have a smooth transition. All they do is talk. It's all talk. Everything they do is talk. We're going to have a smooth transition. And then they take 625 million acres and they essentially landmark it so you can't ever drill there again. Well, we're going to be drilling soon.
Let's go.
We're going to be opening up Anwar. We're going to be doing all sorts of things that nobody ever thought was even possible. But remember and just to get off the subject, because I couldn't believe it when I heard it yesterday. I couldn't believe the size of it. I mean, you put down a map and put this up. It's just massive. And remember that that's worth probably, I mean, I've had estimates, $40 to $50 trillion. That's more than our national debt. Essentially, he's thrown it away. He's thrown it away. He's taken $50 trillion. So if we owe $35 trillion, he's taken $50 trillion of value and thrown it right out the window. We can't do that. Nobody can do that. One other thing he did yesterday, which was in many ways worse. It's hard to believe it can be worse. He wants all gas heaters out of your homes and apartments. He wants them to be replaced by essentially electric heaters. I don't know what it is with electric. This guy loves electric. We're going to be ending the electric car mandate quickly, by the way.
Donald Trump addressing the offshore drilling ban and the gas water heater issue that Biden has brought up. They want to get rid of the gas water heaters. I said to my wife last night, she's like, do they really want to get rid of our gas water heater? I said, that's the hill I die on. Come and take it. It'll be like the flag in Texas, except with a water heater on it. All right, let's rejoin Trump.
A heater where you go and you're scratching, and that's what they want you to have. They don't want you to have gas where you don't have the problems of the electric. And the source is plentiful. They're much cheaper to operate. They're much better. They work much better. They look much better. 60% of homes and apartments have gas heaters. He wants them all removed quickly.
And that'll affect the poor.
These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with them.
Yep.
They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. It comes down from heaven. And they want to do no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You're in the shower 10 times as long, you know. No water comes out of the faucet. You want to wash your hands.
He's just a gift to us.
So good.
Longer than what they have right now. As you know, I ended that policy. You can have all the water you want.
I love
Makes
this
no
guy.
difference. It comes weird, especially in certain areas. We have so much water, we don't know what to do with it.
It's called rain.
But these are all things they want. Very
drip,
little water to
drip,
go into your dishwasher.
drip.
Almost none.
So
and you
good.
know what people do? They just keep pressing, keep it going. They end up using more water. Likewise, washing machines. They want in your washing machine to have very little water coming out of the washing machine. So when you wash your clothing, you have to wash it 4 times instead of once. You end up using more water.
Facts.
We're a party of common sense.
Let's
and
go.
things that I'm telling you now is really all about common sense. On January 20th, we'll turn the economy around very quickly. Because right now when I think of our economy, I think about inflation. That's what we have. We have inflation, I believe, at a level that we never had before. There's never been anything like it.
13 days.
And over the next 4 years, the United States is going to take off like a rocket ship. But really, it's already doing it. If you take a look, just last month, SoftBank announced the $200 billion. I think it'll be 200. He said between 100, and I said, how about making it 200? And he sort of said yes, but let's say it's 100, but it might be 200, right, Brian? Dollars, United States, creating more than 100,000 jobs. Hussein just announced a tremendous investment that he's going to make, and that's money that's in the bank. He's going to come and do it, and he'll do a great job, and he'll build the best centers in the country, I guarantee, because I know the way he builds. Since my election, the stock market has set records. The S&P 500 index has broken above 6,000 points for the first time ever, never even close. In a single month, small business optimism soared 41 points. It's not a 41. It went up 41 points, and that's the largest in the 39-year history of the group that does it. According to Gallup, the American people's confidence in the economy has just surged to the highest level in history. That's why I have a news conference like that. I take the greatest business leaders in the world. I say, hey, do you want to say you're going to invest the money? They're not looking for news conferences. They're saying, what am I doing here? They go in and they invest money. But it's good to know where the smartest business people in the world are investing, and they're investing in the United States. So we've done this all in 2 months of not being there. We haven't been there. And it's pretty amazing, and we think we're going to do some really great things, really great things. We're being respected again all over the world. The Panama Canal is a disgrace, what took place at the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave it to them for $1, and they were supposed to treat us well. I thought it was a terrible thing to do. It's the most expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively. It would be the equivalent of substantially over $1 trillion today. We lost 38,000 people. Think of it, 38,000 people, they died from malaria, mosquitoes. They were unable to stop the mosquitoes. They paid people 5 times more to take the job. Many of those people died. We gave it away for $1.
Yep.
But the deal was that, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries.
That's got to change.
They laugh at us because they think we're stupid, but we're not stupid anymore.
Nope.
So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of the agreement, and they've morally violated it also. And they want our help because it's leaking and not in good repair. And they want us to give $3 billion to help fix it. I said, well, why don't you get the money from China? Because China's basically taken it over. China's at both ends of the Panama Canal. China's running the Panama Canal. And they come to see this Biden, this guy who should never have been allowed even to run for president.
Come on, man.
Of course, she shouldn't have either, because that never happened. I had to beat 2 people, not 1.
Yeah. He beat him easily,
too. $3 billion to fix the Panama Canal that's run by China and makes a lot of money, China.
Who's it run by?
One of the most profitable.
China.
Built because you have your ships lined up back to Florida, frankly, and they just keep going through, and the numbers are staggering, $500,000 to $1 million a ship. And they took it away from us, meaning we gave it to them for $1. But not going to happen. What they've done to us, they've charged us, they've overcharged our ships, overcharged our Navy. And then when they need repair money, they come to the United States to put it up. We get nothing. Those days are over.
I love it.
Working with the Republican majorities in Congress, we'll cut taxes, slash regulations, raise wages, and boost incomes at a pace the world has not seen before, and certainly not from our country. We had a big chunk of it for the first 3 years prior to COVID coming in my administration. We had the greatest economy in history. We cut the most regulations in the history of our country, and I did that all in 4 years, by 4 times more than any other president cut. We did that in 4 years, and we were just getting started. We'll impose new tariffs so that the products on our stores will once again be stamped with those beautiful words, made in the USA. And we are not treated well, as you know, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but, they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister, you'll win it'll take 2 seconds. But he said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me. I said, I don't know. Let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels. And can't let that happen.
No, we can't.
Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble.
Designate
Very
those cartels as terrorist organizations and then go in and get them. Like, you want me to support a war? That's a war I'll support.
Pretty soon we're going to change, because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
Based.
Which has a beautiful
Absolutely based.
A lot of territory. The Gulf of America.
Is that breaking news? It's the Gulf of America now.
I think so.
I don't even care if it's official anymore. Like that's what we're calling it from now on.
To stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too. And the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada. Substantial tariffs. And we want to get along with everybody, but they have to. It takes two to tango. We're approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America. We have things that nobody else has. We have more natural resources. We have number one. Nobody knew that until I came along. I made us number one. We're number three. I made us number one in a very short period of time in drilling. And you can talk about windmills. They litter our country. They're littered all over our country, like dropping paper, like dropping garbage in a field. And that's what
say they're killing whales, right?
Because in a period of time, they turn to garbage. Most expensive energy ever. They only work if you get subsidy. The only people that want them are the people that are getting rich off windmills, getting massive subsidies from the U.S. government. And it's the most expensive energy there is. It's many, many times more expensive than clean natural gas. So we're going to try and have a policy where no windmills are being built. Off the coast of New Jersey, they want to build like 200 windmills. The people are going crazy. Nobody wants them, and they're very expensive. They don't work without subsidy. You don't want energy that needs subsidy. Energy is a good business. You don't need subsidy. But when you build these massive towers, and they're 25 stories tall, 40 stories. They have 170 stories tall. The blades, they take 3 ships to ship them. It's crazy. They're dangerous. You see what's happening up in the Massachusetts area with the whales.
I knew it. I knew he was going to bring up the whales.
2 whales wash ashore in, I think, a 17-year period. And now they had 14 this season. The windmills are driving the whales crazy.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong. That's Donald Trump. He's given his first press conference one day after Congress has certified his election win. A couple big takeaways. The Gulf of America, absolutely based. That's what we're referring to it as from now on. He talked about Canada and Mexico, the tariffs that he's going to be imposing on them. That's what drove Justin Trudeau out of office. And we're going to be covering this press conference, I'm sure, all day long. The Gulf of America. How based does that sound? 5019 on the text line says Gulf of Texas has a good ring to it. Yeah, I like Gulf of America.
I like Gulf of America because united we stand.
Amen. All right, it's 10:54 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. We'll cover more of this press conference with Donald J. Trump, the certified president-elect, when we return on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, the Tennessee Titans front office making some moves. They've fired general manager Ron Carthon after a second consecutive last-place season in the AFC South. Controlling owner Amy Adams Strunk said in a statement she was concerned about our long-term future should we stay the course. McDonald's rolling back some of its diversity policies. Here's ABC News chief business correspondent Rebecca Jarvis with more.
Recently from a number of major companies, including Walmart, Ford, and John Deere, and now McDonald's is the latest to roll back some of its diversity, equity, and inclusion practices, citing a Supreme Court decision that outlaws affirmative action in college admissions.
Medical debt will no longer appear on your credit report. This under a new rule finalized by the Biden administration today. This is going to remove some $49 billion from credit reports of about 15 million Americans, according to Vice President Kamala Harris, who announced the administration also canceled more than $1 billion in medical debt using funds from the 2021 American Rescue Plan. President-elect Trump giving his first news conference since being certified the winner of the 2024 election. He just announced a $20 billion investment into this country by Damic Properties in Dubai for data centers.
I'm thrilled to announce today that Damic will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time into the United States, and they may go double or even somewhat more than double that amount of money.
Trump also blasting Biden for a ban on offshore drilling, and very relative to Middle Tennessee right now with temperatures below freezing, the Biden administration moving away from natural gas to electric heat for homes and businesses.
Gas heater is much less expensive. The heat is much better. It's a much better heat. As the expression goes, you don't itch. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? And that's what they want you to have. They don't want you to have gas where you don't have the problems of the electric. And the source is plentiful.
Trump also said that they'll be doing away with what he calls the electric vehicle mandate very soon. He takes the oath of office in 13 days. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It's 11:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Donald J. Trump is giving a press conference right now, one day after Congress has certified his election win. He's taking questions from reporters right now, and I want to rejoin this live because the best exchanges with Trump are when he goes at leftist media, because they don't hold back, and Lord knows DJT doesn't hold back either. Let's join this live.
Came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. You know, I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now.
That's facts.
So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons. Yes, please.
Let's go.
Good afternoon, Mr. President.
Please.
On Jack Smith's report. Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's good to see you again. 2 questions about Syria and the ongoing war in Gaza. About Syria, the Pentagon disclosed last month the U.S. has some 2,000 troops in Syria. That's almost double the number initially we were told of 900. Will you keep that troop capacity the same upon taking over?
Well, I won't tell you that because that's part of a military strategy, but I will say it was Turkey. Turkey's been after that country in different names and different forms and shapes for 2,000 years. Those people that went in are from Turkey. And President Erdogan is a friend of mine. He's a guy I like, respect. I think he respects me also. He's the one that didn't go after certain people after I requested that he not. You know who I'm talking about, the Kurds. I don't know how long that's going to, because they're natural enemies. They hate each other. But he didn't do that yet. And he didn't do it in the past also. He started, and I said, please don't do that, and he didn't do it. So, but if you look at what happened with Syria, Russia was weakened, Iran was weakened, and he's a very smart guy. And he sent his people in there through different forms and different names, and they went in and they took over, and that's the way it is.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Do you have concerns about HTS taking control of
By the way, I have the envoy here. Is that in the back? It is. Standing with my son, Eric, is Steve Witkoff, who's just got back from the Middle East, and he's done a fantastic job. He's a great deal maker. I said, what we need there is a deal maker, because nobody makes a deal. We have people that understand where the rivers are and where the meets and bounds are, but they can't talk. They can't make deals. Steve's done a great job. I just want to thank you, Steve. You've been working endlessly for months, and he's working specifically on the hostages, trying to get them back.
Well, that was my second question is Hamas.
Steve, come up for a second. Maybe you might want to say a couple of words.
Sir,
I didn't
another hostage.
I didn't know Steve was going to be here, actually.
Neither did I.
He's done a fantastic job, and it's a dangerous job, too, and we appreciate it. He didn't know about this kind of danger and the other deal-making he does. Now he sees a lot of big danger. Come on up, Steve.
Mr. President, can I ask you a second part of that? Hamas released
just one
another
second,
hostage
please.
video.
I'm going to give you a little report on the hostages, if I can, Steve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wow. Well, I think we're making a lot of progress, and I don't want to say too much because I think they're doing a really good job back in Doha. I'm leaving tomorrow back to go to Doha, but I think that we've had some really great progress, and I'm really hopeful that by the inaugural, we'll have some good things to announce on behalf of the president. I actually believe that we're working in tandem in a really good way, but it's the president, his reputation, the things that he has said that are driving this negotiation, and so hopefully it'll all work out and we'll save some lives. I believe we've been on the verge of it. I don't want to discuss sort of what's delayed it. There's no point to be negative in any way. But I think it's the president, his stature, what he said he expects, the red lines he's put out there, that's driving this negotiation. I'm going back probably either this evening or tomorrow night.
Are you confident there'll be a deal before January 20th, or is that something that's likely to happen, if there's a deal even at all? And we've been hearing this now for the better part of.
I know. I would say.
They better be.
Right. I would say that the president is exasperated. I don't want to talk for him, but look, I don't know anyone who delegates better than President Trump. He gives us a lot of authority to speak on his behalf, and he exhorts us to speak emphatically. And emphatically means you better do this, because the alternative.
Do you think they're waiting for President Trump to take office?
No, I think they heard him loud and clear. Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell will be paid, all hell must be paid if they don't release the hostages.
Well, do I have to define it for you? Look, all hell will break out. If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out.
Put in perspective that the Biden administration, their response about Hamas and Iraq was don't. Donald Trump gets out there and says, all hell will pay. You will pay hell. Hell will break loose if we don't get those hostages back. That's leading through strength.
People from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people, they're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have the right person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East.
Let's go.
Okay? Thank you, Mr. President. You've done a great job. Thank you.
All hell will break loose. Let's go.
140 police officers were injured by rioters on January 6th. Will you pardon anyone who attacked a police officer?
Well, the only one that was killed was a beautiful young lady named Ashley Babbitt. She was killed, and there was actually somebody else that was killed, also a MAGA person, but people don't give it 100% credibility. I'm going to find out about it, and we're going to find out. But Ashley Babbitt was killed. She was shot. She should have never been shot. She was shot for no reason whatsoever. In fact, they say that she was trying to hold back the crowd, and the crowd was made up of a lot of different people, so we'll see. But I will tell you this, the person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt. The other thing is, when they talk, there was never charges of insurrection or anything like that.
Facts.
But if there were, this would be the only insurrection in history where people went in as insurrectionists with not one gun. Okay? And let me tell you, the people that you're talking about have a lot of guns in their home for hunting and for shooting and for entertainment, a lot of good reasons. But there wasn't one gun that they found. And why didn't they find the bomber, the pipe bomber? They know who the pipe bomber is. The FBI knows who it is. The status of the FBI has gone down so far, and the status of the DOJ, or as I call it, the Department of Justice, it's the Department of Injustice, being laughed at all over the world. And hopefully with Pam Bondi and with Kash Patel and with other people that we're putting in, that will all come back. If you do a poll in the FBI, I guarantee I'm at like 90% with the agents of the FBI, but they have hurt that incredible place. Law enforcement, you think of the FBI, they raided this house. By the way, they could have told me, could I see this? I would have given them, I actually told them, come in anytime you want. You can see anything. They raided the house and the case was dismissed. And now I'm in litigation. I'm suing them for doing that. And I feel so badly doing it. I'm the president of the United States, and I'm suing the United States, but I'm suing them for other things, too. The FBI has gone so, its reputation has been so horribly hurt between Comey, who is the worst, and all of the others. What's happened to the FBI is, and we're going to make it great again. We're going to make the FBI great again. We're going to make the Department of Justice fair and strong, but fair again. Because all they did was attack me because I'm their political opponent. And that includes with local judges like Marchand. You ought to find out. Ask them, why do I have a gag order where I'm not allowed to speak? Think of it. I'm the president of the United States, and I'm not allowed to speak. Why?
It's a travesty.
Because if I did speak, people would understand the scam. It's a scam. And we have very dishonest judges, and New York judges are very bad. We had one that valued this house at $18 million because it was good for their case. He actually valued that chandelier is worth more than $18 million. He valued this house as $18 million. And we have another one who was so nasty, so horrible, such a brute, most vicious, vile person. And these are New York judges. But we've won most of the cases, so we're very happy about that.
That's Donald Trump. He's given his first press conference here after the Congress has certified the election yesterday. And I love listening to this guy. I love his interaction with reporters. You know, he was asked a little while ago about the troops in Syria. You know, they told us it was 900, it's 2,000. And he said, well, I'm not going to give you any answers on that. That's a military thing. And I love that. I love that. Why? He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. But the back and forth and talking about all hell will break out if Gaza hostages are not released. This is how we lead with strength. And we're 13 days away from Donald Trump retaking the White House again. He's the president of the United States, effectively. Everybody's acting as if. World leaders are acting as if. You got world leaders resigning from their positions because Donald Trump is coming back. It's like the Tucker Carlson thing. Dad's home, and he's pissed. Trump is coming in with a mandate from the American people, and this is exciting stuff. We're going to go back to this press conference live.
Independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
Have you asked your staff to draw up plans for acquisition? I mean, are you active?
No, we're not at that stage, but we have people. I haven't even entered office yet.
Secondly, sir, Elon Musk has drawn some criticism and a lot of attention for some of his actions and provocative statements about foreign affairs, including in Europe. Your reaction to that, is that appropriate for...
You mean where he likes people that tended to be conservative? I don't know the people. I can say Elon's doing a good job, very smart guy. I don't know the people you're talking about. He was, I know he said some negative things about a couple of people that are running for office, but that's not so unusual. Yes, please.
That's not unusual.
I wanted to ask you about Ukraine and Putin. How soon do you anticipate going to meet with Putin to discuss the Ukraine situation?
Well, I can't tell you that, but I know that Putin would like to meet. I don't think it's appropriate that I meet until after the 20th, which I hate, because, you know, every day many young people are being killed, soldiers. You know, the land is very flat, and hundreds of thousands of soldiers many hundreds of thousands from each side are dead, and they're laying in fields all over the place. Nobody to even collect. There's landmines all over. It's a disaster. But it's very flat. It's great. It's farmland, and it's very, very flat. And the only thing that stops a bullet is the human body. And the human body is stopping a lot of bullets.
Within the first 3 to 6 months?
I hope to have 6 months.
First 3 to 6 months.
No, I hope long before 6 months. Look, Russia's losing a lot of young people, and so is Ukraine. And it should have never been started. That's a war that should have never happened. I guarantee you, if I were president, that war would have never happened.
No, listen, let's be honest. The Ukraine-Russia conflict would have never happened if Donald Trump was in the White House. And I love the way that he does the diplomacy when it comes to wartime. It's like he's not saying Russia's the bad guy. He's not saying Ukraine's the bad guy. He's saying many lives are being lost on both sides. And you know, as we're staring down the second Trump administration 13 days away, he makes a great point. He's like, you know, many lives are being lost today. Many more will be lost in the next 13 days. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. I love that he doesn't dehumanize one side in a conflict. He never does. I don't think he ever has. And that's fantastic diplomacy. That's how you bring people to a negotiating table. This is the difference. Donald Trump can get up there and speak. He's going to speak for what? Probably 2 hours today, answering all sorts of questions, rapid fire. Doesn't it feel good to have somebody with a brain back in the White House? Has Biden done this once in his entire term? No. Kamala Harris didn't do this once her entire campaign. We are unbelievably lucky that Donald J. Trump won in November. We are unbelievably lucky that we can put this national nightmare behind us in 13 days. Donald Trump giving his press conference the day after Congress has certified his election. We got a lot to cover, and we'll be covering this press conference, I'm sure, all day long. I know Murphy's going to be bringing you the latest. Chad's going to be bringing you the latest. But I want to talk about Facebook changes. Have you heard about the Facebook changes? Mark Zuckerberg, is he turning over a new leaf, or is he going the lane of self-preservation? We'll talk about that when we get back. It's 11:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and I got to tell you about my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Man, January is cold, but we got some hot deals for you. You like that? You like that? I didn't come up with that on my own, I promise. But they got some great promotions for you at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, like a free air duct cleaning with the purchase of a new complete whole home AC. Or how about a free air duct cleaning package upgrade? You buy that middle package, you get the deluxe package for free. How about this? A free furnace checkup with any heating repair service, or 15% off indoor air quality products. There are so many deals happening at Busy Bee. You got to call them to figure out what you can do. If you need help with your HVAC, call who I trust. Call the best, your Rude Pro partner, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They will come to your home, and they will fix it for you, or they'll repair it if that needs to be done. And these guys do a great job. For satisfaction guaranteed, it's Busy Bee HVAC, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, online at busybeehvac.com.
Special Counsel Jack Smith temporarily blocked from releasing his classified documents report on President-elect Trump and two co-defendants. This story and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 11:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. I like Instagram, but I don't use Facebook. I know they're both under the same parent company, Meta. And Meta is making some big changes. They're going to be replacing third-party fact checkers with community notes. That's a jack move, right? From X. They're going to be lifting restrictions on certain topics. Their automated systems will now focus on illegal and high-severity violations. And they're going to be removing the reduction of political content. Mark Zuckerberg announced all this in a 5-minute video that was released earlier. And I don't know, man. I hear this from Mark Zuckerberg, but I feel like what he's really doing is he's admitting that they've been censoring us completely and that the systems were in place to censor us completely. And we can be like, wow, this is all sunshine and rainbows. We got Facebook back. And I'm like, nah, I'm still out. This is really just admitting what we all knew, that there were systems in place to censor Americans. And now they're going to relax the restrictions? Why is that? Is it because your platform is dying and it's only really boomers on the platform anymore, and you're trying to go to a younger audience, and you realize that the success of X is the fact that it's a free speech platform? You know, the negativity factor and censorship aside. But now Mark Zuckerberg all of a sudden is going to work with President Trump. Is this really him turning over a new leaf? Is this him waking up to the evils of censorship, or is this absolute self-preservation? We understand that Facebook censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, full stop. We understand that Facebook censored the Wuhan lab theory. Remember when that was just a conspiracy theory about COVID? They censored that. They banned you off there. They censored all sorts of vaccine information that, you know what? Weird, spoiler alert, turned out to be true. And now we're just supposed to believe that this is a good thing that Mark Zuckerberg is turning over a new leaf. Well, he donated to Trump's inauguration. Okay, he also had ballot drop boxes and Zuckerbucks in all of these communities in 2020. I think that this is a self-preservation move by Mark Zuckerberg. To think that he wasn't in on the censorship and wasn't informed, I think, is naive at best. But now he's saying he's going to work with President Trump to push back against censorship. You enabled censorship.
We're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more.
You were one of those companies. You were. Meta was. Is.
The U.S. has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the U.S. government.
Yeah, listen, Facebook working with the U.S. government is not anything new. Let's be perfectly honest. They've been working with the U.S. government for the past 4 years. They were working with the U.S. government in the lead up to 2020, albeit alphabet agencies. Let's not kid ourselves. And from its inception, you can actually make the case that Facebook was a CIA invention. Listen, do your own research. Don't take my word for it, but I think you should. Is Mark Zuckerberg turning over a new leaf going to bring you back to the platform? 615-737-9986. I want to dive into this a little bit more when we get back, plus take some of your calls. For me, it's a hard pass. I want to hear from you. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Well, the federal judge overseeing President-elect Donald Trump's now dismissed classified documents case is temporarily blocking the Justice Department from releasing a report prepared by special counsel Jack Smith while the legal battle plays out. The classified documents case remains ongoing in the appeals court for the co-defendants. A new rule improves the credit scores of millions of Americans by removing medical debt from credit reports. Here's Elizabeth Schulze.
2 out of every 5 Americans have medical debt, and those unpaid medical bills can take a big toll on your credit score. But now that is about to change. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is finalizing a rule to erase $49 billion in unpaid medical bills from the credit reports of about 15 million Americans.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg announcing some changes to Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. Here's Mike Dubusky.
The changes include moving the company's trust and safety team from California to Texas in an effort to address the concern that biased employees are over-censoring content, according to Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. He also says his companies will work with President Trump to push back against foreign governments going after American companies to censor more.
In a post on Threads, Zuckerberg notes it'll take time to get this all right, but it is an important step forward. Right now in Nashville, the Tennessee Titans front office has fired general manager Ron Carthon. The Titans just finished dead last in the division for a second consecutive season. Controlling owner Amy Adams Strunk says in a statement she was concerned about the long-term future should they stay the course. The Titans finished the 2024 season at 3-14 and earned the number 1 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft for their struggles. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. It's Chris Hand here, and I want to tell you about my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. Shane's a great guy, and if you need health insurance, he's who you need to speak with, because Shane has over 20 years of experience in health insurance, and he's going to shop the entire market for you. I know you've heard this before, but Shane literally will look through over 75 different companies and find the type of plan that's the best for you. He can help you no matter your income or your health situation. I know that's a big deal. So don't let yourself or someone you know get taken advantage of by call center agents and limited, overpriced health coverage. That's not what you want. Shane can be saving you 30 to 60% on your monthly premiums easily. I've seen it done many times, and many of these plans that he can get you on will even pay you when you use them. I know. It sounds awesome. Shane can do this for you, and he can do it today. Give him a call and let him know that Chris Hand sent you. He'll show you how much you could be saving on quality coverage right now. You can call Shane at 615-465-0023, or you can hit his website, covernash.com. That's 615-465-0023 to book an appointment with Shane Ring. You can get a quality health plan managed by you, not the government, covernash.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
We're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The U.S. has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the U.S. government.
That's Mark Zuckerberg and an apparent face change about censorship. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Listen, everybody's like, wow, Mark, woo, welcome to the team. And I'm over here like, hey, while you were using resources to censor conservative Americans, children were being exploited on your platforms. Right? Let's be real. And I honestly think that the only reason you're changing face now is because you don't want Kash Patel to look into where the bodies are hidden over there at Meta. One hacker way. All right? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Mark Zuckerberg. He's a bastion of free speech. He wants Facebook to see the success that X has seen.
And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the U.S. government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further.
Let's be honest. You worked hand in hand with the Biden administration, and before that, deep state officials. The U.S. government didn't really go after Facebook. Facebook held hands with the U.S. government, and Facebook has been holding hands with the U.S. government since its inception. If you believe the online rumors, it may or may not have been a CIA project from the jump. But now he's worried about it. Okay. Does it stink to anybody else? It stinks to me.
But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it.
I feel like the Wicked Witch, my dear, or Glenda the Good Witch, my dear, you've had that power all along. You've had that power all along. It's the First Amendment, dude. But now he needs to change things. And the Facebook reclamation project is happening before our eyes. Zuckerberg all of a sudden cares about free speech, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a second. I don't think anybody should buy it for a second. Zuckerberg believes in continuing to make money, and Zuckerberg wants to make his platform successful because he's chased away a lot of the discourse and dialogue that used to happen on Facebook. He's censored that dialogue. He let the digital public square become controlled by the government, and people went elsewhere. And now that he realizes his largest user base is going to start dying off, he needs to make a change. Now that he realizes Trump is coming in, and they could look into the censorship tactics of Facebook and how they worked hand in hand with the government to hurt the Trump administration in the lead up to 2020 and in the lead up to 2024, if you want to look into it. Now he needs to change. And they're continuing that. So Zuckerberg released this. They're changing their fact-checking program. They're getting rid of fact-checkers. And they're going to do community notes like X. They're lifting restrictions on certain topics. You can say vaccines aren't good now on Facebook. Oh my gosh, revolutionary. The automated systems that they had in place, that they're now just fully admitting that they're there for censorship, are now going to focus on illegal or high severity violations. So when they used to focus on Mima saying that the election was stolen and taking her off Facebook, now they're going to focus on child exploitation material. But now they're going to do it. And they're going to remove the reduction of political content. We're supposed to celebrate this. This isn't the only move they made. And make no mistake about it, they're trying to buy you back. They added UFC's Dana White to the board of directors. Listen, I like Dana White as much as the next guy. Get your bag. No problem there. But are we supposed to believe that this is really going to change anything? Maybe it'll change temporarily, but again, I just think Mark Zuckerberg is putting his finger up in the air and seeing which ways the wind's blowing. That's what he's doing. But they released a press release about Dana White. Said Meta announced today that Dana White has been elected to the company board of directors. Dana White saying, I've never been interested in joining a board of directors until I got the offer to join Meta's board. I'm a huge believer that social media and AI are the future. I'm very excited to join this incredible team and to learn more about the business from the inside. There is nothing I love more than building brands, and I look forward to helping Meta take them to the next level. The statement said of White that he is responsible for the overall strategic direction of UFC's global business, which employs over 600 people across 5 continents. Under White's leadership, you've seen the UFC explode. I mean, it's absolutely exploded. Zuckerberg also announced his interest in bringing in more conservative voices at his social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram. I just feel like this is too little too late. Are we really supposed to celebrate this? Are we really supposed to feel all good about it? Are we? It just stinks to high heaven to me. And all he's done in this video that he released is admitted that he's been censoring everyone. He said at one point, even if we only accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. Yeah, I understand. You've censored millions of people. He said the recent election feels like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. You know, you could have done this a long time ago, and you chose not to. That's why people left your platform. So they're going to get rid of fact checkers. Okay? They're going to simplify their content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender. So you'll be able to say something revolutionary on Facebook now, like a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and there are only 2 genders, right? And this is where we're at. He said what started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. You're noticing this 4 years too late. And I think the only reason he's noticing it is because he's losing money. Let's make no mistake here. Mark Zuckerberg worships the almighty dollar. And if that means he needs to bend the knee to the government to continue making that dollar, he'll do it. If it means he needs to be a free speech warrior to keep making that money, he'll do it. He's just another lizard person, right? He's a chameleon. He's just going to do what he needs to do to get by. They're also going to move their trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California to their base in Texas. So he's understanding that California is not exactly home of free thinkers. He said the U.S. has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. What did this just happen? Are you just realizing this? I thought Mark Zuckerberg was supposed to be a smart guy. This has been the reality for years. Years. I mean, this is too little too late for me. No, I'm not going back to Facebook. I'm not. He said the bottom line is that after years of having our content moderation work focused primarily on removing content, it's time to focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our systems, and getting back to our roots about giving people a voice. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon. I don't buy it for a second. So that's what's happening over at Facebook. This is going to be big news today. You're going to hear a lot of people celebrating it. Take it with a grain of salt. On another social media platform, TikTok, Kevin O'Leary has now said that he wants to set up some investors and is working to close a deal to acquire TikTok.
And we want to. And then on midday, 12:05, Trump will be who we have to work with to close the deal in the months ahead. So I wanted to let him know, as well as others in his cabinet, that we're doing this, and we're going to need their help.
Well, that's going to be a very interesting story to watch. You know, I want to go back to that, but I want to.
Kevin O'Leary buying TikTok would actually be pretty cool. Kevin O'Leary seems pretty based. I don't think that he would be involved in the censorship that happens on TikTok for Americans, and maybe we can get that algorithm fixed so they don't suggest things to our kids like eating Tide Pods or lighting themselves on fire, but more engineering things like they do in China. Maybe. But I don't think that letting the government just shut TikTok down is a good way to go about business forcing them to sell it, I think, is a smart move, and I would welcome Kevin O'Leary taking that on. I would. You know, ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, has no intention of selling it and is on record saying they would rather shut it down. ByteDance is controlled by the Chinese government. Make no mistake about it. This is going to be a battle to force them to sell it. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, how do you force their hand to do that? If they would rather shut it down, I think that's what we would see. I'm not a fan of saying the government should have the authority to shut that down, but we all know what's going on TikTok. And we can't let that stand in our country. So if Kevin O'Leary wants to get some investors together and buy it, I welcome that. But again, it's a big if right now, but it's a story that we will be following here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, we're going to check in with Chad Benson, see what he's got coming up on the Chad Benson Show. I always want to call it the Chad Benson Experience. Have you listened to his show? It's an experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's been a great addition to the team. We'll check in with him next. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 11:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand, joined in studio by Chad Benson. Do you buy the Mark Zuckerberg face turn here?
Yeah.
You buy it 100%?
Yeah.
See, I don't buy it at all.
And I'll tell you why.
Tell me. Because I want a different opinion.
Zuckerberg isn't as politically motivated as people think. He's a businessman. Period. Case closed. End of story. He got blamed for 2016 along with the Russians and Cambridge Analytics. He understands business. He's a business guy. I don't think he gives two rats about what goes on in the world of politics. I just don't. He spent a lot of money because I think he felt like he had to do a mea culpa to the world, like I got to fall on the sword.
But this is my thing. This is like, you're going to see a lot of conservatives today celebrating this guy and these changes. And I'm thinking he just puts his finger up in the air because he worships the almighty dollar. He doesn't care about anything else.
Well, I don't think he cares a lot about what people say on Facebook. I don't think he wants to be the arbiter of truth. I don't think, he does, like you said, there's some things, you can't be selling arms on there and trafficking children, some things that have to be regulated. But no, I don't think I don't think he is a fan of being the referee. And, it's interesting, too. Dana White is on the board.
Yeah.
And he met with Trump already.
But I feel like that, again, is like hey, conservatives, look, we got Dana White on the board.
If he could give up all of his money today and be a pro UFC, he would do it in a heartbeat.
Zuckerberg would?
100%. That is his dream. He trains. He flies some of the world champions out to fight and train with him.
Really?
Yes.
I'd love to see him get beat up.
So he's actually he holds his own.
You think so?
He does. He's wiry.
Yeah.
He's a wiry lad. He's wiry. But, I think a lot of these guys, they don't want to be the arbiter of truth. And part of the reason he used to go and have to speak in front of Congress is he wants more regulation. A, takes the pressure off me, and B, the more regulation there is, the harder it is for anybody to get my space.
Do you think that this saves the platform?
Yeah, I don't think the platform's good. It still has 2 billion users?
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Globally, here's the thing. Globally, in other parts of the world, it's got a lot of users. We don't use it like they used to, but businesses still use it a ton, and Instagram is still big.
Yeah.
So
I just don't trust. I just don't trust Zuckerberg. I think that he will change his political opinion as soon as a Democrat administration comes in.
No, I don't think he cares. I think kind of like Bezos. I think he's checked out of that stuff. Like Bezos is checked out completely. Like he just wants to hang out with his his voluptuous lady on the boat.
Until Kamala Harris came out and said she wanted price controls at grocery stores. And he's like, well, wait a second. I own a grocery store.
Yeah, but he's like, hey, Kamala, who's Kamala? Like, that's all he's doing. He's just hanging out on the boat with Lauren Sanchez. Which, hey, if you got that money and you got those boats, I'm hanging out there too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, people don't realize. Do you know that boat he's got? So that one they had to take down the bridges to get it out in Amsterdam? Do you know that he has a support boat that's 200 feet?
And the support boat is bigger than any boat I've ever been on.
It's like the third biggest boat in the world.
And that's just for supplies.
Yeah. That's where the help stays.
That's just in case.
Good God. I got to get me some of that.
And then these are the type of people that lecture us on climate change.
Yeah. So, but they're all giving, like Apple yesterday gave $1 million to Trump's inauguration. It's part of doing business, and I think long ago, many CEOs realized that, stay away from anything political. They're finally getting it now. Stay as far away from it as possible.
I think with Zuckerberg, though, he's more worried about the ramifications of his actions in the lead up to 2020 and the censorship that occurred.
Well, no, I think but nothing's going to happen to him. No, the Trump administration's not going to go after him. It was stupid. He recognized that. He said that 2 years ago when he was on the Rogan. He goes, it was too much. But, if you've got 2 billion people and you've got 500 people in a room trying to monitor all that stuff, you're going to make some swings and misses. I was just talking to Bell out there. I got suspended numerous occasions for things that weren't it's a New York Times headline, and I got suspended. I'm like, what for? It was because they got algorithms and they see something. And YouTube's the same way. There's a guy that's a huge World War II historian and professor who gets suspended all the time because he talks about the Nazis. They hear Nazi and they suspend him. And it's like, dude, he's a professor.
But I feel like that stuff was so deliberate and so slimy. And at the same time, they weren't able to root out the child exploitation material and the grooming that was going on.
Can do that because they're so far ahead of it. And that's the thing.
But they could make sure that we weren't allowed to share the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Yeah, that was, and he readily admit that was a horrible, bad decision.
But
on his part.
if you could shut that down, you could shut down the child exploitation stuff. You'd have to imagine.
I don't even think so. Because
You don't
the
think
difference
so?
between one thing and God knows how many. Because the thing is, you shut one down, two pops up. You shut two down, three pop up, and half of it, and it's only there for a moment. And that's the frustration. Because it is disgusting, the stuff that's out there and it's available. And then you got the dark, super dark web.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's they're always like one step ahead. But, you know, it's anytime you get to that size, you're going to have pains. And I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he did a mea culpa.
I disagree on the not being a bad guy.
No, I don't think he is. I've had buddies who work with him and said he's not a bad guy. And they've all said the same thing. Dude, he's a ruthless businessman.
But that goes back to my point that he's only doing this because he's worried about the business and the almighty dollar. He's a slime ball.
Like everybody in the, like, you know, it's like the unions yesterday, the dock
but he's
people.
positioning it as he's a hero for free speech, and all these countries are censoring
way
it
when they come back.
and this and that.
Well, I think the thing that's scaring him too is what's going on in Britain.
Yeah,
I think that's a big. I think
Keir
that's
Starmer.
a big. Yeah, Keir Starmer and them. I think that's a big issue with what's going on over there because there. You know, if you guys don't know, it's crazy, the insanity that happens over there. But do I think that, you know, I think he, look, he's a different character. Some people like him, some people don't. I don't think too much about any of these people, to be honest with you. It frustrated me the way that you never got an answer whenever you would challenge something. That was my big thing because, you know, and that the way that the ball, you know, the goalpost always moved.
Yeah.
That's right. And then when you these people suspended you for this, and you go talk to them like, we never even looked at any of your stuff.
Yeah, it's insane. Speaking of Britain, tomorrow on my show, I'm going to have Father Calvin Robinson. He's going to be jumping on to talk about the grooming gangs and what's going on in Britain. He's got a bird's eye view for what's been going on there because he lived in England for years. So I'm really looking forward to that. He lives in America now, so he can really tell us what he thinks. And not worry about,
although he may get extradited.
Not worry about a knock on the door. What do you got coming up on the show today?
We're talking a little bit about, obviously, the insanity of people on Facebook, because I watch people freaking out. Yesterday, a little bit of, you know, Trump and the whole way that the left reacted and the fact that some people compared it to the Holocaust.
Yeah.
I don't.
Sonny Hostin on The View.
I'm sorry. The Holocaust? That is insane. Plus, we got Netflix. Did you see Netflix? Got WWE Raw. They spent $5 billion. Last night, they debuted it. There's a reason that all of these things, all these groups only want live sports.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that works.
100%.
That's it.
Did you watch it last night? Are you a wrestling guy?
I'm not, but I watched a bit of it just to see.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was interesting. They rolled out the red carpet for everybody.
I'm a wrestling guy.
Yeah.
I think that the parallels between wrestling and politics are just
100%.
numerous.
It's about the story. It's not about the wrestling.
And there's a lot more going on behind the curtain
100%.
than what they put on TV.
100%.
The parallels are there. Chad's in next. Looking forward to the show. Chad Benson up on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.